Hey yo, this DSA 1 UGA fan rant and opinions. I made a video yesterday, but I didn't get a chance to put it on YouTube because there was some information on there that I didn't want on YouTube, so I got to make another one. But anyway, this is regarding to the Arch Manning situation that a lot of UGA fans or just people in college football maybe feel some type of way about. And this is in regards to Arch Manning coming to Georgia, Bama, or Texas. And in his recruiting, the young man didn't really go all out as far as putting a lot of information up. He didn't say who's in his top 3. He didn't make a spectacle out of it. Daggone train. But anyway, he didn't draw attention to himself like that. Just by him being quiet, it drew attention to him. And since that was the case, Dog Nation and a couple other spots were talking about, to my guesstimation, but I know Dog Nation was talking about it because I was in the chat. I was watching the stream. Arch Manning would be good to come to UGA. I was like, no, he wouldn't be good to come to UGA. What would be the point of him coming to UGA being behind 5 quarterbacks, including Stetson Bennett? What would be the outcome of that? Like, why? A lot of people want to throw up because of competition. There's nothing wrong with being competitive, but you got to know when you can and cannot do something. If you gonna be number 7 on the depth chart behind 2 other rookies, and I'm saying rookies because they haven't played any legit downs in college football, plus 2 other players that haven't even seen the field yet, what make you think your odds are gonna be any better? People speculate how good he looked. Some people were saying, giving him like 5-star status, and I'm not knocking the 5-star status. I'm just saying, as far as him being compared to the UGA philosophy that we have seen so far, is that just because you're a 5-star don't mean you're gonna start. Well, Jake Brown was a 5-star and he started, over an injured Eason who didn't get a chance to really get his spot back. And I'm saying didn't really get a chance in the aspect of the man came in air quotation, garbage time, when it's like maybe 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, hand the ball off, threw an interception, he was yanked. The game was already over with. There was no point in really even yanking him in that regard. And any other quarterback for that information, excuse me, I'm over getting tongue-tied. In that regard, is getting pulled. You a freshman or a sophomore and you get in and you throw a pick and the number 1 QB is still at the school, they gonna pull you and you might not see the field no more. And that's with a 45, let's say a 45-21 lead. And people were like, especially some of the Bama fans that was in the Dog Nation stream the other day, or yesterday, the trolls anyway, I'll speak on that. Y'all mad Arch Manning didn't come to y'all school. I'm like, he didn't go to your school either, so what are you laughing about? Oh, well, we got this person. I'm like, we still got 3 other quarterbacks that everybody know about, plus 2 nobody's even seen. So that's 5 quarterbacks. Take that back, that's 4. Carson Beck, Brock Vandegrift, Gunnar Stockton, and Will Muschamp's son. That's 4. And Stetson Bennett, who's starting. That's 5. And this is Stetson Bennett's last year. So with that being said, what would be the point of him coming here? If Stetson would have left last year, that would have been a good move. Because eventually one of the 2 guys are going to leave. Carson's probably going to leave, or Brock is going to leave. It'll be jacked up if both decide to leave. Then it leaves Gunnar the starter. And if that's the case, we're going to be in some trouble. We're going to be in some serious trouble. Excuse me. just because Gunner has not had a chance to learn the offense by his second year, which would probably be or Brock Vandegrift or Carson Beck's first year. So one of them is probably going to stay until next year to see who wins out, and then whichever one don't win it out is probably going to leave. So in that regard, that's probably the reason why people from the UGA fan base was hoping that Arch would show up, because we already know one of them is gonna leave. And if one of them leave and pull a Justin Fields, go to another school and show out, what they say about Kirby as a head coach and what they say about Ty Monken as the offensive coordinator, you getting all these weapons and you're not using them. I said something in Dog Nation chat today where it was like, what's the point in getting all this good food and you letting it spoil? That's exactly what they're doing. Granted, at the quarterback position, you don't want to constantly rotate quarterbacks out. No, you don't. But on top of that, you have to give some of these quarterbacks some playing time. Not even to get them to stay, but get them some playing time so they get that experience. Let's just say, in a hypothetical situation, Stetson Bennett get hurt. Who's going to play behind him? Who's going to be the number 2? So I can hear some folks saying Carson Beck. I can also hear people saying Carson Beck ain't ready. Why is he not ready? Or why would he look like he's unprepared? He's been there since last year. Why is he still not prepared? And this is just a hypothetical. Why would he not be ready to start playing for Georgia if he's been behind Stetson for at least a whole year? And I want to say Vandegrift has also been there a whole year. Both of them been behind Stetson, and neither one of them has really seen legit playing time. What I mean by legit, I'm going to break it down again for those of you who have not seen any of my previous videos. Legit playing time, in my opinion, is when your offense is up, using UGA's offense. Let's say they're scoring the average of 40 points a game. They're up 28-17, 11-point lead. Going into the third quarter, boom, they score another touchdown. Now it's 35. Why did I say 17? Anyway, 35-17 at this point. It's a 21-point lead. 35, 17, 18 points. Excuse my math. But anyway, now this will be a good time to put Carson Beck or Brock Vandegrift in to ride out the rest of the game. The defense on the other team is pretty much tired. They're not going to switch out their second string if it's this close of a game. He's going to need that type of pressure to get ready. Okay, he throws an interception. Don't put Stetson back in. Put Brock or goddamn Carson Beck back in. Let them learn from their mistakes. Let them see what is going on. Help them figure out what to do. Instead of just leaving them on the bench because they threw an interception, or letting them hand the ball off 35 times to protect the lead. It's already 35-17. What more do you need to protect? They score another point. It's 24-35. You're still up. And if they do score another touchdown before Carson Beck or Brock Vandegrift can put up another point, okay, then you put Stetson back in. But if it's a comfortable lead, let's just say 28-0 going into the third quarter, unless he comes out and makes horrible mistakes, he's getting hit and he's instantly fumbling, or he's making more turnovers than he should be as a backup, then you pull him and put Stetson back in. Now if Stetson's hurt, you pull him and put Brock Vandegrift in. Like, I'm not gonna say it's not rocket science, for the simple fact that casual fans or whatever that's not at the program have no idea of what the learning curve is for a high school player that's going into college, or a player that's at college, in the college level, not being able to see the field like that. Some people will say his IQ is high, but if his IQ is so high, why is he not getting more reps in the actual game. And I'm speaking on last year because nobody's seen what this year looked like. Nobody has played a game yet. So I'm not going to sit up here and say that, oh, he's not going to get a chance to play. Hopefully he does get a chance to play. And I don't just mean get a chance to play against a smaller school. And if that's the case, if Stetson comes out and scores 14 points, let's say in the first quarter, let Carson Beck or Brock Vandegrift run the whole second quarter. Leave the number one defense in and let one of them run the number one offense. Or if they're comfortable with the twos, put the whole second string offense in with the number one defense. Let's see how that work out. If you're going to play a smaller school like that, because them guys need that experience. They need that playing time. And without them getting that playing time, you cannot expect them to come in their third season of not seeing the field at all and expect them to be world beaters, expect them to get us back to a national championship. It's not going to work that way. Somebody left in the comment section the other day, look at what Joe Burrow did. Exactly. Joe Burrow came in for 2 seasons because he did make it at Ohio State when Fields got up there and Fields showed out. Joe Burrow came to the SEC with a fire offense and defense. Went to the SEC championship and won a national. What happened to LSU after that? Their whole squad left. Coaches and players. They were gutted. And what happened to them? They looked like a group of 5 school. And the person who I was saying it to him, like, is that really what you want? Like, you want Georgia to look like a LSU? I don't want Georgia to get players from the transfer portal in that regard because it's looking like basketball. You used to have players come in to a Duke, a Kentucky, what's the other school? Duke, Kentucky, and one other school. I forgot the name of it right now. It's in Carolina. Those guys will go to that school for a year or 2 and go straight to the draft and be highly, highly ranked. Is that what y'all expecting college football to turn into? And then on top of that, the high school players that are trying to get into college can't get onto the campus because the coaches are pulling people who already played at other schools from the transfer portal. Like, what would be the overall hype of pulling players such as Arch Manning from high school when you got, let's say, a Rattler that's already played? Who you think gonna get to the school? Rattler, who's already had a full season, or Arch Manning, depending on if they're going to the same school. Let's just say both of them was trying to go to Texas, but Rattler's coming from, let's just say, Florida. Who do you think the coach is gonna pick? And then he plays his junior and his senior year and he's gone. Now Arch is off to another school because he couldn't get in there because they already got quarterbacks at that school that haven't seen the field yet. People relying on this transfer portal to patch holes. In a sense, it's not wrong, but at the same time, you're hurting the high school recruits that are trying to come to that school. They're already sitting behind other freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors, but then you're going to have to make them sit another year to beat out somebody who's already played 2 to 3 years ahead of them. Like, how are people okay with this? I may have been okay with it, with the idea of a player leaving a school to go to another school because of personal reasons, illnesses in the family, unfair treatment, whatever the case may be, a legit reason. I'm okay with that. But what I'm not okay with is a player going to a school, he don't get any playing time, then he instantly transfers out, gets picked up by a different school, starts that same year. Some people might hear this and be like, oh, so you weren't okay with Justin Fields leaving. With what Justin Fields was going through, I wouldn't be surprised if it did happen. I'm not surprised if that's what was said, that's how it made him feel, and he ended up leaving. Because y'all would really have an issue if he'd have punched that person in the mouth over that type of situation because he's defending defending himself in more ways than one, which I'm not going to get into. And then fans trip me out when they want to call players cowards because they're leaving. These players have an obligation to their family. Not one fan they are obligated to. Just because you pay money to see them play don't mean you putting money in their pocket to help their family out. So they are going to go to where the opportunity presents itself, and they are going to leave, which I don't have a problem with, because people in the everyday world, if another job presents itself with more money, better benefits, paid leave, holidays, and everything else that fits you, you're going to go there. So don't even try to act like these young men and women that play in these college sports owe any fan anything, because they don't. I don't want players getting hurt. I want players to be treated fairly and equally, and I would like for players to do what they need to do to help themselves out and their family. But what I'm not going to be cool with is fans acting like players owe them something. These players don't know you. They don't owe you nothing. Now back to the Arch Manning situation. I told y'all this is an opinion and a rant page. I'm ranting and I give out opinions, and I might even drop some actual info on him. But anyway, with that spill out the way, Arch Manning didn't need to come to Georgia. And no, I'm not saying no, we didn't need him. I'm saying it in the aspect of, look at what Georgia already has. Georgia don't even have room for the players that they have now. Georgia, to my understanding, I could be wrong, Georgia's still trying to get down to the 85 player scholarship level. They're still above that, and we're in June now. There's nothing wrong if the 2023 class commit, they're not playing, but still. What if the situation comes around again at the end of the season, whether we make it to a national championship or not? It's back up over 85. Who is going to be on the team? We've already lost a player to Florida. I think we lost a player to LSU. Lost a player to Alabama. I think we lost another player to Michigan State when Mel Tucker left. I mean, we done lost 4 players that I can think of, and we're still over. I take that back. Mel Tucker left a few years ago. But still, we lost another player, I think, to Arkansas or something like that. We're still too many players over the cap for scholarships. And I just heard got another walk-on. I think a walk-on kicker or punter, or kicker/punter. Georgia is too loaded to be worrying about one player. And from what I'm hearing, the quarterback that Tennessee got is better than him. Everybody riding on the name of the Mannings. Peyton Manning, I think, was the only one, as far as him and his brother that played in the SEC, that actually won a title. I don't think Eli won one. Like, they cemented their footprint in the SEC in that regard of being 2 QBs from the same family that went to 2 different schools that played well. And everybody's putting all this expectation on Arch that he's going to play well. Then on top of that, another thing that I'm hearing, that he plays in a private school sector, you could say. So he's not really playing the best of the best, because you're pretty much cut off because of the way your private school football conference is set up. You're cut off from playing actual competition. So if he's turning up in a private school area, what make you think he's going to do any better in a public school type setting? Like playing Mater Day or something like that. Or playing IMG Academy or something like that. Like, what make you think he's going to be better against both of those schools with the squad that he played with? Like, y'all need to quit tripping on Arch Manning. Dude is okay, but he really wasn't all that. And I'm saying he's not all that today in the context of we haven't seen him play a down in college football. Then I come to realize, I watched another video where he's sitting behind 3 other quarterbacks at Texas. Would you rather sit behind 3 other quarterbacks or 4 other quarterbacks? And eventually one of them is probably going to leave, so then you'll be behind 3 with somebody coming in right behind you in the 2024 class. And that's if you see the field by 2025, 2026. Like, there's nothing wrong with having plenty of weapons in your arsenal, but if you just letting them rust and you ain't putting no oil or no work in on them, there's no point in getting them. Like, why keep getting all these weapons and you're not putting them out there? Okay, let's just say they're not grasping the playbook. That's a good reason. I wouldn't want to put nobody on the field that can't understand the playbook. Okay, let's say he's a discipline problem. I wouldn't want to put him on the field either, because you have to earn it. Okay, let's say he's not being competitive. Okay, I don't want to put nobody on the field who's not going to help us win any games. If those plus a few extras are the issue to why some of these players are instantly leaving and some of them are being called prima donnas or being spoiled or whatever the case may be, that's understandable. But what you couch coaches and armchair quarterbacks don't understand is, who's going to ride the bench for 4 to 5 years before they ever get a chance to get put on the field? Even sometimes BA, who's on Dog Nation, was saying some of these players have rode the bench, I want to say at least 2 to 3 years. Who's going to waste a whole college career on a team and not play at all? I don't mean scrimmages. I don't mean just third string. Like, if you're really that competitive, you're not going to wait. But if you did to get a scholarship and be on the squad and you don't see the field and that's cool with you, fine, do your thing. That works out for you. But a competitive person, a true competitive person, is not going to wait, especially when they have skills that are better than what's being put out there. And then when you say, well, the coaches know best, apparently not all players they do. Just because you a senior don't mean you better than that freshman that's out here busting their butt trying to get on the field, and they actually, when they get in, they actually do something. You done came in and got complacent. You thinking your spot is safe. Kirby Smart say ain't nobody's spot safe. I beg to differ on that. I really do. BA will bring up, well, nobody believed in Stetson Bennett. And you see why nobody believed in Stetson Bennett for real. He really wasn't that developed. The man done been in school for 35 years and won a national last year. Yay. I'm happy we finally got one. And everybody know the defense carried us to that daggone national championship. And the only reason why was because the majority of the offense was hurt. We had dudes that had season-ending injuries that year and the year before. So we were working with freshmen, sophomores, and a few juniors. So yeah, they stepped up and did what they had to do. And that's bad. You got to wait for a player to get injured to actually get on the field and get legit playing time. If the offense was rotated as much as the defense outside of the running backs and the wide receivers, dude, you will have players loving to come to your school because they're going to get playing time. They might not get a lot, but at least they get some type of playing time. Every game they're getting something. And then on top of that, hopefully we don't have any players too banged up during the summer and before fall training camp start. So when we go into the Oregon game, we're not looking like we did last year. Majority of the team hurt. But we still blowing people out. I'm glad Arch didn't come to Georgia, because I really am tired of seeing UGA get some of the best QBs and they're not seeing the field. If development was that good, Fromm would not be behind another quarterback in the league. I think he went from Buffalo to the Jets. Fields left UGA, which I'm still hurt about, but I'm glad he went to Ohio State and actually showed out, and he is the starter for the Bears. What does that say? Trust the process. How am I trusting the process when I'm seeing players leave and go to other schools, and when they get to the league, they showing out? I can't trust the process fully when I'm seeing this type of stuff happen. And I'm not the only one that see it. a lot of real UGA fans say it, and I'm not talking about you Disney dogs that think everything is okay, even though you can see the bullshit. I'm not finna do that. Like, it disgusts me that people say just ride with the coach. He know what he doing. If he knew what he was doing, he would put the best QB in. We don't have to ever worry about running backs because the running backs are going to get constant rotation. We don't ever have to worry about the wide receivers because the wide receivers are going to get constant rotation. We don't have to worry about the linemen because the linemen are going to get constant rotation. Quarterback cannot get constant rotation. I said I already understood that, but if your quarterback is not up to par, you need to rotate them out. You don't want to look like a Les Miles team or early Ed Orgeron team or even a Jim McElwain team or even an early Urban Meyer team where he was rotating between, I want to say, Chris Leak and Tebow. But it freaking worked. When Chris Leak left for the league, Tebow was ready, even though he protected Tebow by keeping him in the shotgun formation throughout the whole time he was in college. I'd say 90% of the time, it worked. These QBs need to be rotated out, especially if there's a lead, to get them boys ready for the following year. And if he is the baddest QB on the squad, he deserves to start. Just because he did some magnificent things in the national championship don't mean he's all that good. And I'm saying all that good in the regards of Bama had Stetson on the ropes, the offense on the ropes, literally. I'm not going to take nothing from Bama. Bama was in that game to win it, as usual. Michigan, not so much. They was not prepared. A lot of the announcers were saying, oh, Michigan is like an up north version of an SEC team, and they got drugged like a down south version of an SEC team. 34-11. Like, what do you expect to happen? And Stetson played his ass off in that game. I'm going to reiterate that. Stetson played his ass off in that Michigan game as far as quarterback play, because I'm not going to take anything away from the running backs whose name I can't think of, and that's bad, but I'm still focused mainly on this quarterback situation. The way Cook and them showed out, Cook and Zeus and them showed out, that alleviated a lot of pressure off of Stetson. But when Stetson had to step up and make them throws, he was making the throws. One thing I say about Stetson I like compared to Jake Fromm, he wasn't throwing 90% of back shoulder passes. He was dropping the ball in right over people, and he was doing it while the man was in coverage to where the only person who could get it was the UGA wide receiver. Fromm was not doing that. Fromm couldn't throw a fly open. Just think on that, fly open. He couldn't do that. And I don't care what nobody say. Fromm was better. No, the hell he wasn't. Because if he was so much better, Georgia would not offensively would not have fell off, or I ain't gonna say fell off, took such a major step back when Sony and them left. Y'all can ride Jake Fromm's nuts all y'all want. That clown was not that hot of a quarterback. And Stetson was behind him before he ended up leaving to go to a JUCO. Who was in there with Fromm? Fields. And Eason was in there before Fields got there. What Eason do when he went to Washington? Pretty much did what he was supposed to do. I don't think he did better than Fromm because I really wasn't watching the Washington games like that, but he was okay. But Archman and his family already seen what it was for the past few years as to how UGA quarterbacks are utilized. I'm not going to let my son with my name go to a school that's not going to put him on the squad, put him on the field. I can understand him not being on the field his freshman and his sophomore year. But by his junior year, if he is as awesome as we know he is, he should be starting. And all this competitive bullshit ain't got nothing to do with it. Because there are people that are very competitive and still don't get their shine compared to somebody who's, air quotation, a teacher's pet, coach's favorite, whatever you want to call it. Like, we seen this happening, not just in football, but any other sport that you could possibly think of. If that player is the coach's favorite, and he ain't even the most dynamic, if he's just the coach's favorite, he's going to get more playing time than the baddest person on the team. Man, this DSA 1 UGA fan ranting opinions. I'm out.